The Golden State Warriors have done it again. As you all know, the Golden State Warriors are very good at picking young talent and really getting such potential players that could eventually become NBA superstars. And we have seen in the NBA preseason a lot of the young players given more game time, and we are starting to see some of these young guys really come into their own and become superstars in the making. So in today's video, we're going to be going through 5 underrated key players that I think are going to be superstars in the future, and how they're going to help the Golden State Warriors win another NBA championship this upcoming season. So don't forget to like this video, and if you want more Golden State Warriors content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. But let's get straight into the first underrated player, which is Anthony Lamb. Now Anthony Lamb is still very new to the team. He stands at 6'6", 225 pounds, and he is honestly such a great player. He was actually undrafted and his draft entry was in 2020, but he has been putting up some pretty good stats so far this upcoming season, especially in the preseason. Now, in Anthony Lamb's, minutes of playing time, where he's only averaging around 14 minutes, he still put up 4 points per game and also 1 block per game and 2 steals. So obviously they aren't MVP stats, but I think what he's done out there for the amount of minutes he's actually receiving is very good to see. And on top of all this, he's a great rebounder as well, where he was actually averaging 5 rebounds a game. So not only was he leading in blocks during this preseason, but he had some great games where he was getting around 5 to 6 rebounds very easily and almost scoring around 10 points. We had 8 or 9 point games. So during the 8 games that he actually did play, he's done a fantastic job, and I think he is only going to get better. I think what makes him very special is his young heart and also his height and stature. Now he does stand at 6'6", but he moves very well for his size. I definitely see him more like a Draymond Green, where even though he is 6'6" and he is a shooting guard type height, he can definitely play power forward, maybe small forward, and even center at sometimes, and I think that's what makes him very good. His height doesn't really mean much when he's being able to jump very high, has a very solid strength about him, and is able to get blocks because of his timing ability. So he really does all the great things right and all the intangibles, and I think he definitely has that sense of Draymond Green in him, where even though he's 6'6", even at that power forward position, he's able to do a lot of things that other big men aren't able to do. And on top of all this as well, he is a great 3-point shooter as well. In his first game against the Trailblazers, he actually went 2 from 3 from the 3-point line, where he was actually averaging 66%. Now obviously he isn't taking Steph Curry type shots, but I think for him to be able to average that great of a percentage from a 3, not only just by him being in the power forward position, but being able to shoot at such a consistent rate, will really help him go far, not only in this team but also for the whole season. The second underrated player is Moses Moody. Now the reason why I bring this into light is because, as you all know, Moses Moody has definitely been on the radar, especially with Jonathan Kuminga. But a lot of people think Jonathan Kuminga is going to be an actual superstar and Moses Moody is probably just going to be the sidekick. However guys, after this preseason, I do have to say Moses Moody, I wouldn't say he is better than Jonathan Kuminga, but I think he is definitely at that level as well, where he can be an all-out superstar. Because during these preseason, he has honestly been putting on a clinic and actually put up better stats than Jonathan Kuminga. He actually averaged 15 points per game and was also grabbing 3 rebounds a game, 3 assists, and also 2 steals. And that was also really good, on top of him averaging 1 block per game, or pretty much 0.9, which is pretty much, almost 1. But I think that's honestly fantastic to see, guys. Moses Moody has been putting up such great stats in all facets, and he does only stand at 6'5". And I think it is very surprising to see him do this, because like you all know, guys, Kuminga is definitely more of the golden child when it comes to these young players, but I do see Moses Moody balling out probably just as much or maybe even more than Jonathan Kuminga during this preseason. Now he didn't get a lot of minutes as well during the preseason, only around 18 to 17 minutes. So obviously if he did have more minutes, he probably could have had more points, but for him to be averaging 15 points per game is honestly insane. Versus the Knicks, he actually went off for 34 points and he shot 50% from the 3-point line and also had an 88% free throw percentage and 61% from the field. Guys, he is a very consistent player, and I'm telling you right now, his numbers are only going to get better. better as time goes on. So I think Moses Moody does have a lot to prove, especially this upcoming season with JTA leaving, Gary Payton II, and also Otto Porter. I think it really does give him an opportunity to actually step up and really be a huge part of this franchise and help this team win another NBA championship. The third underrated player that you may not have known of is Jerome Robinson. Now, Jerome Robinson is actually 25 years old and he was drafted in 2018, so he has had some time in the league, but I think he's honestly such a great pickup from the Golden State Warriors due to the fact that he's very under the radar. Now, he is a shooting guard, 6'4", weighs 190 pounds, and in the 2 games he's played, only averaging around 12 minutes per game, he actually averaged 6 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. So he put up some pretty good stats all around, despite the fact that him only getting, just under 15 minutes shows he's very, very good and can use a lot with the time he is given. And I think that's what they're trying to get out of someone like Jerome Robinson. They don't need someone that can drop 30, 40, 50 points per game. They need someone in the 10, 11 minutes that he is going to play for this Golden State Warriors team to put up a couple of great stats in all categories, and that's definitely something Jerome Robinson does, and also does it at a very high level. And I think that's something that really doesn't get talked about enough. What Jerome Robinson does very well, you can definitely see, and I think it is fantastic to see that in the past 2 games he has played, he's been putting up some great stats. In his best game so far this preseason, he actually got 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal, so that was great to see there. And I think he is only going to get better as he gets more used to this team. So he has only played 2 games, and I think he is going to be getting more opportunities as time goes on. I think Jerome Robinson is a great fit for this team because Golden State Warriors do need that player that can play, 5 to 10 minutes per game, but can put up great stats all around. I think a fantastic thing about Jerome Robinson as well is his play style matching the Golden State Warriors. He's actually a very, very good 3-point shooter and definitely very consistent. In the 2 games he actually has played, his 3-point percentage is actually 66%. Now, he's only taking 3 attempts per game. However, guys, I think it's still very good to see what he's actually capable of, especially when it comes to, shooting those threes. If he's able to shoot 3 from 3 every single night, in all honesty, that is a win for Golden State Warriors to pick up someone like Jerome Robinson. The fourth underrated player is none other than Patrick Baldwin Jr. Now, I have done videos on PBJ in the past, and I think honestly he is fantastic and he's continuing to show just how great he actually is. So he is actually a rookie. He was picked 28 for the Golden State Warriors, stands at 6'9", 220 pounds, and he has honestly been balling out for this Golden State Warriors team, especially in the preseason. Now, what I love about Patrick Baldwin Jr. is that he's able to do a little bit of everything, and I think that's what makes him so special. He actually averaged during this preseason 7.8 points per game, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. So he's very all-rounded in those stats, and his average minutes were only around 12 minutes per game, so he didn't have a lot of minutes to actually showcase his talent. And I think this definitely does show that with the amount of time he was getting, he is very, very efficient. And that's something you definitely need to take into account, especially when it comes to a team like the Golden State Warriors. They already have enough star players in Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. The list really does go on, and especially in PBJ's category of, James Wiseman, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, he's only going to be probably getting around, 10, 15 minutes per game max, and I don't think he is going to get a more game time than that. So with the game time that he is given, I think he can definitely make a huge impact. And I think what's great about him as well, like I mentioned about, Jerome Robinson and also Moses Moody, is that he's a great 3-point shooter. His 3-point percentage so far during the preseason was 50%, which is very high, and he's actually averaging 4 3-points a game. So guys, that definitely says a lot. Okay, 4 threes, that is a lot of threes, guys. I know it doesn't sound like much, especially when you compare it to like Steph's 10 or 11, but in a regular NBA season, guys, normal good 3-point shooters are shooting around 4 to 6 threes per game, so that's definitely a good number and definitely a great percentage. I think that's something a lot of people are sleeping on when it comes to Patrick Baldwin Jr., his scoring ability, especially from the 3-point line. And I think, although he does play small forward position, I would love to see him play that power forward position where he can be a little bit of a big man and also also run that pick and pop with Steph Curry, I think that would be exciting to see. The fifth underrated player and one of my favorites is Lester Quinones. Now, I may have actually stuffed up his name, so sorry in advance, but I think Lester is honestly such a great pickup for this team. He stands at 6'5", he is a shooting guard, he does weigh 205 pounds, and he actually is a great player due to the fact that he was undrafted. And I love these undrafted players, guys, because I feel like they have a chip on their shoulder and they have something to prove, and I think Lester is definitely that guy that can prove a lot of us wrong. Now, during so far this preseason, he has played actually a lot of games. He's averaging a lot of minutes as well, despite the fact that, he actually was undrafted, but he was actually averaging 14-15 minutes per game, which is great to see. And during those 15 minutes during this preseason, he's actually averaging 6.4 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. So I think that's great about all of that, and I think it's fantastic to see what he has been able to do and continue to do on a regular basis. Now, he hasn't been given a full contract just as of yet. I think he is on a little bit of a contract that is more of like, they can release him at any time, kind of like a 10-day contract. So, it definitely isn't going to be a complete signing just as of yet, but I think he definitely has balled out so far this preseason, and he does show his capability out there on the floor. Now, his 3-point percentage is very average, but I think, what he really does shine in is actually his defense and his inside ability. But it don't take away that he isn't a great 3-point shooter, because his actual 3-point percentage is 35%, which is actually above average. Okay, the average NBA player shoots a 3-point percentage of 30%, so he's actually above average. So I wouldn't even say he's a bad 3-point shooter. It's more like, compared to people like Steph, Klay, now even Wiggins and Jordan Poole, it's definitely on the lower side. But I think he can definitely work on that, especially being mentored by someone like Steph or Klay very, very easily. Now, his inside presence is honestly amazing. His athletic ability inside is second to none. I really do compare him to, great athleticism such as Wiggins or, Ja Morant, and I think he is capable of really, dominating inside the paint, especially with his speed and his quickness. So that's great to see, but he hasn't fully signed yet, and I think he definitely should be signed in the most upcoming games. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.